Hello, everybody, and welcome to our LinkedIn Live. Today, I actually have a great friend of mine, two great friends of mine. I have the amazing Fred Diamond and the amazing Josh Loveridge here with me. Let me share with you a little bit before I give the stage to my amazing guests. Fred, you and I have known each other for probably about over 10 years. You're a great friend. When I have some issues in life, I reach out to you. You do the same. We've helped each other go through so many things. You've even been in the breath of my son. So we're that close. We love you, love everything that you do. Josh, you are the first human on this planet that I started a business 50-50 with, which tells a lot about how much I trust you, value you, your knowledge, who you are. And you guys, Fred, you are the sales inspiration for me. And Josh, you're the technology inspiration for me. And hopefully today we'll talk about sales and technology and how those two things mix. So before we start, Fred, would you share with our audience a little bit about you and the Institute of Excellence in Sales?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Fred Diamond. I'm the founder for the Institute for Excellence in Sales. I'm in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. Zev, as you might see on my post, this past weekend I was in Asheville, North Carolina. And for people listening, Hurricane Helene, of course, it went through your area down in Southwest Florida. But yeah, there's tens of thousands of people in Asheville, North Carolina who lost everything. Houses destroyed, lost every single thing with the flooding. So I was down there for the last half week or so, helping give out food and understand what's going on there. And the reason I'm bringing that up is at the Institute for Excellence in Sales, we work with large, mid-sized to large business to business or business to government sales organizations. And we have a whole plethora of programs that are designed to help their sales professionals be more successful, more effective, we like to say. So some of our customers include companies like Amazon Web Services, Hilton, Hiley's, Amazon, Hilton, Salesforce, Oracle. We have mutual friends at Cvent who've been on your LinkedIn lives before. And some of our programs include our Women in Sales leadership programs. We have a couple designations, our Premier Sales Employer and Premier Women in Sales Employer. So we're all about helping sales organizations become more effective.
I love that. Actually, if our some people in the audience, if you know Fred's Institute of Excellence in Sales, please put the URL up here so people can take a look. Fred, your organization, I've been involved with your organization, I think for 8 years or so. It's amazing. The amount of value it gives people that want to develop their business, people that think sales is a profession is incredible. I was lucky enough to grace your stage, but honestly, I have seen some of the best people, the best speakers I've met through your organization. Some of the best companies I've ever met, some of my best clients I met through your organization. So Institute of Excellence in Sales is amazing and incredible, and what you do is amazing. Josh, introduce everybody to you. Josh, to me, is the number one technologist. He's my partner in CTO, incredible technologist, and we are actually working on something really exciting for sales. So do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, Josh, and then share our amazing project that you're working on?
Sure. Yeah, great talk, guys. So my background's pretty simple. I'm a big nerd at heart. I've been in the entertainment industry and enterprise cloud technology for the goods of 10 years. Worked with all your Fortune 100 companies that you would expect. Your Unities of the world, your Xbox, your PlayStation, all those guys. Mostly really, and the thing I've always been very good at is solving thorny technical problems that nobody else has the want or need to solve themselves. So always the hard things, that was always my thing, still is. And having gained that knowledge, and especially through a lot of in-person events that we've done and meetings we've went to, me and Zev kind of felt the need that there is a big gap right now for a revolution in the way sales training's delivered to people. Everyone's done those boring old courses where you sit there for 5 hours and you just click a button. And to be honest with you, you don't really even read it. You just, it's an exercise. we want to revolutionize that. We're building now. We're trying to gamify sales training. We are trying to really, kind of build this immersive, experience around it that is going to actually make it fun, and so people will, actually listen to it and hopefully learn something.
Awesome. I love sales, Fred. To me, sales is one of the prettiest words in the English language, but to a lot of people, it's not. What you do, and this is almost the inspiration of what Josh and I are doing. For 10 years, you've been educating salespeople, okay, giving us tools. I used to send my whole team to your Friday meetings before, COVID and everything happened. It's so important. Tell us a little bit why you put so much time and energy in educating salespeople and why it's so important.
So sales is a profession. So for people who are listening here, we serve sales professionals, business to business, business to government. Typically, they're complex sales. You have to work with a lot of people. They require strategic thinking. They require process. Sometimes you might have to talk to 6 to 12 people to have the sales process move forward. We don't really work in the realm of the one call sales and things like that. And we view sales as a profession. Like you said, we, for people who are watching this today who aren't exposed to a lot of large companies, if it weren't for the sales professionals, you wouldn't have a company. If things weren't being sold, if the process wasn't in place, there'd be no need for accounting, for logistics, for operations, for finance. I remember I worked for a company in the mid 90s called CompuWare, a large enterprise software company. And the guy who was the president and founder of the company used to say, the last one out the door before we shut off the lights, it's going to be my worst salesperson. So sales is about service. It's about the customer. It's about helping things move along. Most of the people, Zev, that we deal with are highly educated. A lot of them have master's degrees. A lot of them came from customer base. I'm in Washington, D.C., just outside, and we deal with a lot of companies that sell to the federal government, which is Fortune 1. It's the biggest entity for technology and for every type of purchase on the planet, for that matter. And to interface with that customer, you need to understand the mission. You need to understand the direction. You need to understand the big challenges that they're dealing with. So sales is a great word. It's a profession. And if you're a professional, you need to work and study and prepare your profession.
100%. And Josh, you and I have spoken. Josh we do a lot for Unity. So, you've spoke to me about the experience you've had with salespeople and how important training is. Now, Fred, would you agree that in the sales training industry, there haven't been a lot of innovations lately? How do you teach salespeople how to sell better?
So most of what we do at the Institute for Excellence in Sales is sales leadership. So one of our programs is our Women in Sales Leadership Forum. It's a 6-session program over 3 months. We take anywhere from 15 to 20 women through. Before the pandemic, we used to do it in person in the Washington, D.C. area. Since the pandemic, of course, we now do it a mix of hybrid and virtual. The forum that we're doing right now has 15 women from many successful B2B companies. And we work on leadership development, high-level presence, command, high-level networking. So the commonality with a lot of the people we work with is that they are senior sales leaders or mid to senior sales leaders, and we help them become better professionals. We're not a training company per se, like a company that will come in and help you work on process or things like that. We really work with the team to help them grow their leadership abilities.
What you do is amazing, and you bring in the best speakers. I think I'm a great salesperson, and every time I came to one of your sessions, I've learned. Now, Josh, let's share a little bit with Fred and the audience how we think what we are doing with sales training. So Josh comes from the gaming industry. Josh probably has created some of the favorite games that some people here are watching. Not me, but Josh, you're helping me with all the gaming part. Now you know how to get attention for people. You know how to keep people playing. How can we use that in sales training, Josh?
Fundamentally, the entertainment industry as a whole, and this goes for games, film, TV, all of it, it is a game of attention. it's funny, and a lot of the time it really is that. It's how long, and the conversations that go on in the boardrooms in game companies isn't how great is our game. It's often how can we keep people's attention for the longest. um because once you keep their attention, you will captivate, you will inspire, and ultimately you will make money. I mean, that's just how the games business works. um and fundamentally, there's a learning in that, and there's a core essence that we think can be captured. I mean, fundamentally, like, you go into a sales train, anyone that's been in a corporate company, you sit in front of it, you go into the, it's very formal. It's like, you go into a room, or sit at your desk, click boxes, and you go through these scenarios. And if we're being realistic, these scenarios are done with actors. It looks so fake. It's like, you're like, oh, well, come on, and
You're just
oftentimes it can
waiting
be a
for the
little bit,
time to pass by so you can click the next button.
and oftentimes it can make people feel a little stupid. You're like, yeah, come on now, you don't have to be like asking me that, but you still have to, go through the process. We think that can be gamified. We think that can be made fun. We want to make people actually want to do it. And how do you do that? Um, Rather than just going through random scenarios, we want to build an experience, and we are building an experience where you are taking on the role of a persona, of a salesperson in an organization that is contextual to your organization. So if you're based in, Virginia, around Tyson's Corner, the whole thing's going to be set around Tyson's Corner. It's going to be actual companies and with real with people that are built upon personas from that area, and it's going to run you through actual, the realities of sales, taking people to dinner, answering blocker questions, solving problems, addressing, any questions that they may have. All those core things that are vital as part of a sales experience, it's going to do, and it's going to showcase in an easy to access application. And that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it actually make an impact, because if we can go to organizations and we can say we can boost your sales and productivity by 5%. If you go to a public company that's making a couple $100 million a year, that's substantial. So that's kind of the essence of what we're doing.
So let me get to something that Josh taught me, and then Fred, I would love to hear your opinions on it. I'm an old soul. I don't play games. I love people. I haven't played a game in a very long time, but working closely with Josh, I understood something. The gaming industry is the biggest industry in the world. Half of our world plays games. Every human being likes playing games. Okay, it's part of our DNA. So if we know that every human being wants to play, why don't we allow them to play in a way that will be conducive for both them and the companies that they serve? So this is where it's coming from. Gamification is how we like to do things. If you have somebody have fun, they'll do more of what they need to do. Okay, that's why I love your organization so much, because I used to have fun listening to these speakers. Like I even right now when we're thinking, I have stuff playing in my head from some of the awesome speakers you've had and things they've taught me, things that I still remember from your presentations. When you play and you win, you remember. So Fred, what do you think about this concept?
No, that's a great point. And, again, we call our company the Institute for Excellence in Sales. And the reason I'm saying that is we think that the profession of sales, we take it from a serious perspective. When we work with companies like Amazon, Salesforce, Hilton, etc., Oracle, they're very serious about their business. They're very serious about what their customers are doing. So when we started, we took it from a academic, scientific type perspective, but you are absolutely right. If you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not enjoying the process, then you're going to stall, you're going to get turned off, you're going to lose your energy. There's a lot of things that great sales professionals have. Like we just talked about, they have energy. They love coming to work. They love talking to customers. They love engaging, right? So the challenge though is that how do you make sure that you have that while you're delivering something that's really critical for your company? For example, if I have a sales team of 3 people and 3 of them don't perform and I'm the manager of that team, I'm going to be in trouble. And then my boss is going to be in trouble because 50% of his stuff isn't happening. And, we're going to be losing revenue. We're going to have to decrease our expenses, all those kinds of things. We're going to have to cut back on the service that we provide to the customers. So the sales profession is very, very serious. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you don't have goals, if you don't work as a team, right, then those things detract from your ability to be successful. And when I started talking to you and Josh about this and how this plays into the overall sales experience, the sales professional experience, it made so much sense. Just one quick thing, Zev, we're the Institute for Excellence in Sales. So I got to train one of my best friends to call my company.
I know
right
this,
name.
and I apologize to you. The Institute for Excellence in Sales.
Right.
And I've known this for many years. I don't know why I said that, but guys, please take a look. I'm going to put again the URL for the Institute for Excellence in Sales. Check it out. The women program is incredible, but not only that, the level of people that come. I believe, Fred, association is key. Okay. Yes. And I love you. You're my friend. Yes. But the people you introduced me to are incredible and amazing. So if you want to increase your association, join an organization, especially an organization like the Institute for Excellence in Sales, because that's where you find like-minded people that you can grow with. Josh, I've learned so much from the speakings, from the interactions that Fred did. How do other companies train their salespeople? You've been around a lot of companies. Can you tell me the process of how they do it?
I mean, I'd love to say that every company, has amazing sales. It's funny. The reality is this. Typically 1 to 2% of the sales force are the ones that are really getting companies money. That's pretty much it. The rest of the people are, an old Irish saying that I always got told are just there because that's where the bus stopped. I mean, it's, they don't really know what they're doing. And this, I've seen this across major enterprise sales companies. When I know more about someone's SKU than they do, that's a problem. That's a bit of an issue. And, that proliferates across the board. Anytime I get a cold call, a great example, and I know their product, I want to see how much they know, and, I'll test them a little bit. And if someone's, I'm always open to be sold, and some people have sold me, and stuff. But the reality is people try training. Oftentimes it doesn't work. Because what happens is, as well as it's not like in a classroom setting a lot of the time, you can just click on YouTube or whatever. And I mean, nobody really cares. It's kind of just like whatever. So, organizations try to do their best. They bring in speakers. They, try and do all this sort of thing. And some of it helps. It does. And some of it inspires. But there is a solid percentage of failure rates to train within sales orgs. And as well, to be honest, if you don't have a very strong leader who is going to actually be able to lead that sales force, it's just going to fall apart, and it's just going to be worse and worse and worse over time.
And Fred, I would love to hear your point of it. I feel like the sales training that is being done is kind of like a shower. It feels really nice, but then when you step out of the shower, it's kind of the effect go away. But if you combine that with ongoing training that is gamified, now you're continuing that over, because yes, it's important to get the information, but getting some information is great. You now got to sustain it, continue to learn it. So what do you think about taking the training that we have so far, but now bringing it to another level with gamifying it, competition? I would love to hear your thoughts.
No, that's a great point. And I like your analogy of the shower. A lot of companies, they'll bring in a quote unquote sales trainer for maybe a weekend or for, over a kickoff for 2 days. And it's like any type of learning, it needs to be repetitive. It needs to be, you need to keep at it. For the people who are listening today who are sales professionals, sales is a profession. And what do you do if you're a professional? You practice, you do role plays. I remember we used to use this analogy a lot during the pandemic when, when there was nothing going on. if you're a professional golfer, you were out there on the driving range for 5 hours and the putting green and the chipping green. Well, use the same analogy if you're in sales. Are you working on even basic things like preparation, understanding your customer's market, understanding how to be effective in front of a camera, because we're all still doing, web type communications, if you will. A lot of it comes down to the sales professional really taking ownership on their career and their ability to be successful. As we're talking about this, if you're an accountant or if you're a finance person, you can work almost any company, and you work with systems, and there's what you need to know, and you learn it, you're getting better at the systems, you're bringing some of your expertise. With sales, there's so many things that really have to go right for you being successful. Like at a macro level, the economy has to be right in a lot of cases. At a micro level, your company needs to be well managed, your product needs to be up to date, right? Like Josh mentioned, you need to have the systems in place so that you can work well. You need to have a good manager, right? Managers need to be trained so that you're willing to work. How many times have we heard this, Ev, that people leave companies because they didn't like their manager. Their manager didn't treat them well. So to be successful in sales, when it's a great economy, everyone's great in sales. Everyone's great in almost anything, but things get a little bit tougher. Are you doing the work? Are you preparing? Are you willing to go meet a customer? It's harder to meet customers now, even online, but in person. If a customer offers you the opportunity to come see them in person, which is like a home run, to use a baseball analogy, and you don't take that opportunity, and if they're 4 hours away and you don't get in the car to go drive to see them on this off chance, a lot of people are losing some of their, this is another topic we can talk about at some point, but, I know we're talking a little bit about AI, and we're doing some work with, with Viacry and Wexler to increase the AI effectiveness at the Institute for Excellence in Sales, because AI is a huge thing. AI, there's so much value that AI can bring with research and preparation and communication and, persona and all those kinds of things. In a lot of cases, though, at the end of the day, the sales professional still needs to be excellent at their career, understand the customer, be 3 steps ahead of the customer, so that they can provide value and have a successful career and help their company grow.
I'd love to get your thoughts about this. I think sales is such an interesting profession because I think if you're lazy, it's the worst paid profession in the world. Like some people just like to almost fake it that they're salespeople and they don't do anything. But if you're really on it, it is the most lucrative and rewarding sales career. Now, another thing, I know you work with some serious companies, and those companies have long sales cycle. I'm sitting in New York right now in Financial Narrative with amazing companies, and all of them have extremely long sales cycles. Yeah. And salespeople are humans, and they get motivated by selling. So how do you keep somebody from both of the things that I said, from the fact that if you're lazy, you're not going to make anything, but how do you keep people that it takes 9 months to create a sale? How do you keep them motivated, Fred?
They say that 3% of your market is actively looking or ready to make a change or looking for a solution. 41% might be interested because they might be looking. This is, again, B2B, enterprise, complex type selling, or B2G. B2G is a little different because the sales cycles are much longer because of funding and approvals and all those kinds of things. And 50% of your market just isn't really paying attention. It's just not a concern. They're good. They don't really need anything. One of the cool things about AI is the ability to build in automated, smart, I hate the word nurture, but nurturing systems to keep in touch, to research where your customer's market might be going from. One of the most successful things that the great salespeople tell me that they do is they try to stay a step ahead of their customer, right? And they'll be researching, they'll find news articles, they'll find legislative things that may be impacting their marketplace that their customer may not be aware about. And imagine if someone comes to you, if they send you something that was like 3 years old, right? There's no value there, but customers are now looking for value from sales professionals, right? Because one of the things that you and I know as well is that they can go to the internet, even go to ChatGPT and find or other type of online, AI resource and get all their answers. Where's my marketplace going in the next year? And then 4 seconds later, there's 10 pages of where the market's going. As the sales professional, you need to jump way ahead of that and understand some of the nuance, use AI tools to really get deep into the research. get deep into what the competition might be doing, last thing is that customers don't need you. They don't need you if you're not providing value. They don't need you if you're not providing value. And value could be a wide range of things. It could just be something like an introduction, right? You mentioned before how you and I have introduced a lot of people to each other, which has helped me, and it's helped Wexler, it's helped the IES. So sales professionals now, more than ever, sales has always been about value creation, but it's like super important right now, right? It's the top 0.1% of determining your ability to be successful.
So this is a bit of a general question, and I would love for you to try to take that. What is your process for identifying and qualifying high potential leads? I know it's but try to answer this question if you can, Fred.
Yeah, I saw that question just came in from LinkedIn. So, and thanks again for having me here, and thanks again for connecting me with Josh. I've learned so much from Josh in the short amount of time that we've known each other. Here's the thing: not everyone is your customer. And I'm going to take people on something very, very elementary. There is a small group of organizations, entities that will become your customer, right? A company like Coca-Cola may have it might be huge, right? A company like Apple, IBM, et cetera, Ford, it might be huge. But for the most part, it's always limited. So if you're selling some type of technology, some type of B2B product and or service, the market that you will get to be interested, not a customer even, but interested, is limited. So the great sales professionals are the one who have identified the universe, or at least a large subset of it, have then crafted messages and compelling value for those audiences, and then have continued to repeat value-driven messages, ideas, offers, solutions to those entities. So, a lot of times people get in business like, oh, anybody could buy our service. We provide IT support. Anybody's a customer. No, they're not. If you're based in Washington, D.C., the chance of somebody, even with virtual, somebody being in Glasgow, Scotland, being your customer is extremely limited, if not nil, right? So maybe you look geographically. Maybe you look at sizes. Maybe you look at existing usage of technology. Maybe your sales team has experience. You got to get really, really honed in on who may become the customers, and then you fill in the process from there. It's very elementary because there's a lot of important steps along the way. But a lot of times people go with the misperception that everybody needs my service. My dad used to say, may he rest in peace, he would say, anybody, if for a good marketer, can market anybody, anything. Not really.
Yeah.
You really can't. It's very focused.
I'm here today in New York, and I've been asking some people, really, really impressive people. I was like, who would you like to meet? And it's like, everybody. I'm like, okay, well, who's better for you? But we have a question here that just gives us an opportunity to really plug one of the amazing things that you do. I feel like, Anil says, I feel like sales has been my weakness. What makes a great saleswoman, salesperson? What are the key ingredients? So, Anil, ask and you shall receive. Okay. No salesperson is ever successful without asking for the sale. That is like the most rudimentary thing. But Fred has this amazing designation for women in sales, an amazing women in sales program led by the amazing Gina Starcuzzi. Shout out, Gina. And you need to understand that men, on average, are more confident. So even if we don't know, we feel very, easy to just spit out. Women are more in their heads. And you need to know more in order to feel confident. But I think women can be much better salespeople than men. Of course, to each his own. But I believe we're all salespeople. Anil, if you've ever been on a date, you're a salesperson. If you've ever, if you ever convince your kid of doing something, you're a salesperson. Don't be shy of the word sales. It's not a bad word. It's a beautiful word. Everything happens from a sale. Revenues generation. Without sales, nothing would happen. So that was my emotional response. Now to your smart response, Fred.
No, I agree with what you just said. I haven't said that in a while, but we always used to say, if you're a parent or a child, you're in sales, or if you have a spouse, you're in sales. A couple things that we've learned. So we created a Women in Sales program. It's going on almost 8 years now. And Gina Starcuzzi, who was just, by the way, named by Demandbase as one of the 100 most powerful women in sales for the third year running. Yeah, we're very, very excited. It's her commitment and her passion about helping women in sales, no matter where they are at the organization, senior VP, mid-level, or junior. Her passion for them is amazing. And we created the Women in Sales program because we learned a couple of things. One is there's a lot of women in blank things, women in technology. There might even be, Josh, women in gaming. I don't know. But, how do we provide a supportive network, right? I'll give you an example. We created the Women in Sales program like I mentioned, about 8 years ago. And we would bring 15 women together at a time over these 6-session programs over 3 months. One of my biggest supporters at a company that had been an IES partner for about 4 or 5 years said, why are you doing this? Said, we're in sales. The women part isn't important. You're a sales professional. You're a sales professional. You're a sales professional. And I said, you know what? A lot of people have asked me to start this program. Why don't you participate? This is a woman in sales leader. Just come along, chime in as you see fit because you've had a lot of experience, and let me know your thoughts. After the 6 sessions were over, after the 3-month cohort of 6 sessions, she came to me. This is a woman who's been a sales leader for 20 years, probably in her early 50s, had worked at great companies, had been in training, been in leadership. And she said to me, she was wrong. She said she was 100% wrong. Yes, we're in sales, so we need to know account strategy and the value add and all the stuff I talked about before, preparation. But she said, we need to support each other, right? She said, we need to come together and help each other out and provide assistance and consulting and guidance, introductions, skill development, whatever it might be. And she said, I was wrong. She says, I was going it alone. I was the hard fighter, the Mike Tyson trying to grip and crawl my way up the hill. And she said, if I had asked for more help along the way, she got pretty far in her career. She goes, I would have gotten there easier, happier, and quicker. So we created the program. Mainly, it's to bring together a supportive network. And, I let Gina run it, but I kind of look in and we talk about how it's going. And when you see the support, it's just mind blowing. It's that expression, even if you're working for different companies, you can go fast alone, but far as a team, right? So far as a group. And I've had so many women who've gone through our program thank me and Gina for changing their lives, for helping them understand how could they be more effective for their company, for their family. A lot of the women, if you think about it, in the 30, 40, maybe early 50 range, they're parents, right? And then, as you get into higher, 50, 60, you're also now taking more care of your parents. So there's a lot of pressure. A lot of those things typically fall on the women. I'm not saying this to be stereotypical, but it's true.
It's true.
So, and then if you want to have a successful career, then there's battles. So how do you bring in the support to be more successful?
So we're about to finish, and Josh is going to jump off. But then, Fred, I want to take a few minutes to talk about 2 things that are not related to this live at all. One is your amazing podcast. Okay, I've seen you started. You impressed the heck out of me. You've been an inspiration to me. I think maybe this LinkedIn show is because of the amazing podcast that you've done. See you, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
But tell us a little bit about the Game Sales Changer, which I had the honor of participating on, I think on episode 4, which you really made my ego jump. Tell us about the amazing thing you're doing with Sales Game Changers.
Right. So my podcast is called the Sales Game Changers Podcast. We started in the summer of 2017, and I was a DJ at one part of my career, so I've always enjoyed podcasts. I like listening to podcasts. I started it, and we're over 700 and I think we're up 705 episodes. We've had about 7 million interactions on the show. I recorded as an audio show. I was going in person to meet VPs of sales. And the reason I started, I interviewed you in your office, your old office in Alexandria, with my mics and my, grips and all those kind of things.
I remember you put the mics on the table and set it all up.
And then I realized I had that all wrong. I had that all backwards 40 episodes in, but nonetheless.
I got to tell you something. And the person, I was like, wow, what are you? He's really putting an effort in seeing you build this thing from a thought to one of the best podcasts on sales out there is an inspiration, my friend.
Well, here's the thing. Thank you. But here's the thing. I needed to meet sales VPs. Sales VPs were my customer. I needed to meet sales VPs, and I had to figure out a way, back to what we were talking about before, I had to figure out a way to get in the room, because for listeners here, you need to interact with the people. Yeah, there's a lot of automation and things, of course, but for B2B and complex sales, there's the human element that is such a big part of it, especially because you have to influence, in some cases, 6, 10, 20 people, to buy your product, no matter what, depending on what it is. So I needed to get in the room with VPs of sales. So I started the podcast. In the beginning, I interviewed some friends, just to kind of get some episodes in. And then I would target VPs of sales and say, hey, let me come to your office, talk to you about your career, get your advice. For sales professionals, we put a lot of time into it. I had my first editor, my audio editor was based in Argentina. So yeah, I was paying her to pull them together. I've hired a transcriber. Even with all the AI transcription capabilities now, I've had a human transcribe every episode. She's actually in Spain. She originally was in Venezuela. She reached out to me via Upwork, and she's been working with us for now. She's doing my podcasts. We published a book because of the podcast. We've put so much content out there. I've always interviewed somebody. I've never done a show where it's just me. It's always been me and a VP of sales, or someone like you who's a sales enabler, who has tools, who brings products together for the marketplace.
It actually makes me remember now that you've asked me for a special episode to interview you.
You were the person who interviewed me for episode 500, I believe it was. And we actually did it down in one of your studios in Sarasota. And it was great. And like you said in the beginning of the interview, you've been on my stage. You kicked off my sales award event, I think 2016 or 17. So you've been very involved with what we've been doing. And yeah, I was thrilled to have you interview me. And I just got interviewed for episode 700. And yeah, it's been a life-changing thing. It's introduced me to so many people. For people who are out there thinking about starting a podcast, if you're thinking about starting a podcast or thinking about writing a book for that matter, do it. It's very simple. I took a course. I paid $1,000 in 2017 to learn how to do a course, to learn about the microphone. I still have my ATR 2100 that I used to take. I still use it now on Zoom and Streamcast and all those places. So it's a life-changing thing, and I appreciate your support and being involved. And also, it's been one of my main ways that I've communicated over LinkedIn. Whenever I post a show, I do a LinkedIn post about it.
Last thing I got to share with the audience. You've wrote an amazing book. I'm going to comment and share it here on the comments. It has nothing to do with anything we just spoke about, but you've wrote a book called Love, Hope, Lime, which helped so many people, Fred. You're an inspiration in my life, my friend. I love talking to you when I have issues. I love reaching out to you. I know you do the same. And these types of friendship make me grow. So thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being such an inspiring person in sales, in Lime, in all of the things that you do. Everybody, look up IES, okay, Institute for Excellence in Sales, and I apologize for that. Look at the amazing podcast Fred does. Okay, check out my episodes. I'm just kidding. Look at the amazing podcast that Fred does, and then take a look at this book that you wrote. Somebody here said something inspiring. You are inspiring, my friend. Thank you for being on my live, and I'm looking forward to a few more.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the show you're going to do with my partner Gina coming up in a couple of weeks.
I am super excited about that. Everybody, follow Fred. Fred, last words, and tell everybody how they can reach out to you.
Thanks. You can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. And I appreciate you and the work that you're doing. I'm glad to see you're getting out there and speaking more. We're working on some things together, which I'm very excited about. And I hope those bring to fruition. So I'm thrilled to be associated with you and Monica and the Wexler team and Josh on the stuff we're doing with ViaCry. So thank you for all your friendship and support as well.
Awesome. Guys, this has been a treat. Fred, thank you, and have a great day, my friend.
You too.
Bye, everybody.